There's more to life than what we know. I have to go out there and try to discover some of it. Why can't we do that together? Taking you with me wouldn't work. You like this quaint way of living. You like waking up to familiar things and knowing what's going to happen in the next 24 hours. I want more than that, Z. I want to live in the real world. Hope Cove isn't it. I wanted to run to him, to throw my arms around his neck and kiss his lips the way I'd done so many times before. I wanted to whisper a reminder in his ear, a reminder of the promises we'd made to one another, the things we'd overcome and all the ways we could be happy. But Danny was different now. And since joining his rotten band just 12 months ago, I'd watched him drift further and further away from me. Little by little, week by week, piece by piece. Until we'd come to this. Nobody wants to sound desperate. So I swallowed down my pleas and took a moment for myself. This night was meant to be so different. I'd chosen the perfect outfit to wear on what I thought would be another date filled with romance. One where we'd perhaps walk on the beach barefoot. One where he'd brush his hand through my long brown hair and tell me how much he adored the way it felt between his guitar-playing fingers. One where he'd perhaps tell me how my pale blue tea dress was pretty, and he loved the way it hugged my breasts. Or one where he'd finally look at me like he had when we'd first started going out. He used to tell me that I was his dream and that nobody could replace me. I guess that hadn't been a lie. Nobody had. It wasn't a person who stole my future, it was a thing, a passion, an addiction that had wormed its way into the heart and mind of the love of my life, making him blind to me and a possible future together. The very thing he once said he lived for. I'd been replaced by a guitar, and only one of us appeared to be mourning the fact. "Don't do this," he whispered roughly, drawing my eyes back up to him. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Tears formed, threatening to roll down my cheeks. "I love you, Danny." It was a simple statement, but it was the strongest truth I had. I know that. I know. But it's not enough. Not enough to stop me. Its words winded me, making my lips part and my breath hitch in my throat. "It's not enough?" I repeated quietly. "Daisy, listen, there's more I want to say, but you should go. Let's just take a minute and talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. You're leaving. We're over." Danny's face fell, and the words that had always come to him so easily looked to be stuck in his throat as he stared at me helplessly. I took a step back, retreating from his handsome face. I couldn't look at the things I loved about him for a second longer, like the way his veins in his strong forearms pulsed beneath his skin, or the muscles that tensed beneath his tight black t-shirt. I couldn't see his strong jaw and perfect lips for a second more. The guitar was his addiction, yes, but he had always been mine. I was a young woman desperately in love, being crushed by a man I never thought would do this to me. Danny had always been one of the good ones, a boy who'd grown up too soon because his soul had been here before, and one who was chivalrous for his young years. He was the kind of guy who kept you safe from all the bad things out there in the world, until he became the worst thing to exist in mine. "Go, Danny," I croaked. "Just fucking go." He rose to a stand, his face creasing in pain with every step. I retreated. I couldn't take it. I couldn't handle him looking like the wounded victim when this was what he wanted. I couldn't take on more pain when I could barely carry my own. "Fine,"